Success is not something that happens by accident. It is not reserved for a chosen few or given only to those who are lucky. Success is a creation, a deliberate unfolding of your inner world reflected outwardly. The path to success is not about struggling against external circumstances. It is about removing the mental and emotional barriers that block the flow of your desires. You do not need to fight the world. You need to align yourself with the reality you seek. Every obstacle you encounter is not an external force working against you. It is a reflection of a belief you hold within yourself. What you consistently imagine and feel as true shapes the life you live. If you want to remove obstacles on your path to success, you must first remove them from your inner world. The foundation of all transformation begins within you. The first principle is simple yet profound. Your inner world shapes your outer reality. You cannot escape the truth that the world around you is a mirror reflecting your state of mind. If you hold thoughts of lack, struggle, or failure, life will reflect those experiences back to you. But if you dwell in the feeling of abundance, success, and ease, your world must conform to that new state. Reality is pliable. It bends to the assumptions you consistently hold. When you face obstacles, do not waste energy trying to fight them directly. Instead, change the beliefs and assumptions that gave them life. If you believe success is difficult, it will be. If you believe the path is clear, it will unfold effortlessly. Your work is not to battle external conditions, but to shift your inner awareness. The world must then rearrange itself to reflect your new state of being. Another essential key to removing obstacles is this: assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled. This is not wishful thinking or daydreaming. It is the deliberate act of living mentally and emotionally as though your goal is already a reality. You must enter the state of having rather than longing. When you mentally dwell in the reality you want, you invite it into physical form. If you want success, feel successful now. Imagine yourself already possessing the achievements you desire. What does it feel like to have already won? How does your life look from that vantage point? Dwell there, and life must bring that vision to pass. Obstacles cannot withstand the power of a clear and persistent assumption. One of the greatest illusions is the belief that external conditions hold power over you. But here is the truth. Ignore present limitations. What you see today is nothing but the outpicturing of your past assumptions. If you accept your current limitations as permanent, they will persist. But the moment you turn your attention away from them and focus on the reality you desire, those limitations begin to dissolve. Circumstances do not matter. Your state of consciousness is what matters. Do not react to appearances, instead act from the reality you want to create. Let go of the belief that your situation is fixed. Nothing is fixed except that which you assume to be true. When you refuse to give power to obstacles, they lose their hold over you. This brings us to a vital principle: persistence in your assumption. Success does not come to those who waver between belief and doubt. It comes to those who persistently hold the vision of their fulfilled desire. It is easy to believe when things are going well. The true test is to remain faithful to your vision when nothing appears to be changing. When you plant a seed, you do not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. You trust the process. In the same way, when you assume the reality of your desire, you must trust that it is unfolding even when you cannot see immediate evidence. The invisible forces of life are always at work, shaping your outer world to match your inner state. Persist in your assumption until it hardens into fact. However, persistence cannot coexist with doubt and fear. Detached from doubt and fear, these mental states are the true barriers to success. When you worry, you affirm that your desire is absent. When you fear, you project negative outcomes. Both of these states reinforce the obstacles you want to remove. Release the need to control how and when things will happen. Your work is to remain faithful to the end result. Let go of the struggle, the anxiety, and the need to force things into place. Trust that once you have imagined and felt your desire is real, the universe will conspire to make it so. Doubt only delays what is already yours. At the heart of all these principles lies the final truth. Your consciousness is the key. The reality you experience is a reflection of your inner state. Nothing comes to you by accident or chance. Every success and every obstacle originates from the assumptions you hold about yourself and the world. Change your consciousness and you change your life. If you want to remove obstacles on the path to success, begin by examining the beliefs you hold. Are they empowering or limiting? Are they aligned with the reality you seek? Your external conditions cannot be transformed until your inner world is renewed. Do not wait for the world to change. Be the change. Assume the reality of your desire. Ignore present limitations and persist without wavering. Success is not something you chase. It is something you allow by becoming the person who already possesses it. Obstacles dissolve in the presence of unwavering belief. The power to succeed is already within you. The only thing standing between you and your dream is the belief that there are obstacles in your way. Let that belief go. Assume the best, persist without fear, and watch as the path to success opens before you, clear and unstoppable. Success is not an accident, nor is it a gift reserved for a chosen few. It is a deliberate creation, a manifestation of your inner world reflected onto the outer reality. Every obstacle you face on the path to success is not some external force working against you. It is a reflection of the beliefs you hold within yourself. If you desire to remove the barriers that block your way, you must first remove them from your mind. The truth is, nothing outside of you has the power to limit you unless you give it permission to do so. Your thoughts, your assumptions, and the feelings you consistently dwell upon are the invisible forces shaping your world. Change these, and you change everything. The first and most profound truth is that your inner world shapes your outer reality. This truth cannot be escaped or ignored. Whatever you accept as true in your imagination will inevitably express itself in your physical experience. If you believe success is hard, you will find it so. If you believe life is full of limitations, those limitations will multiply around you. But if you can accept, even for a moment, that life responds to your thoughts, you will begin to see the power you possess. You are not a victim of your circumstance, you are the creator of them. When obstacles seem to appear in your life, they are not random occurrences. They are the result of thoughts and beliefs you have accepted as true, either consciously or unconsciously. The key to removing these obstacles lies not in battling them directly, but in changing the mental patterns that created them. What you focus on expands. If you focus on lack, you will experience more lack. If you focus on opportunity, opportunities will reveal themselves. Your task is to master your imagination, to discipline your mind to dwell only on what you want to experience. This is the first step toward removing any barrier on your path. Consider this: every achievement, every great success, began first in the imagination of someone who refused to accept their present limitations as final. The person who rises above their circumstances is not the one who works the hardest or faces the least opposition. It is the one who holds an unwavering vision of their desired reality. This vision becomes the dominant force in their life, pulling them toward the realization of their goals. If you want to remove obstacles from your path, you must first imagine the path as already clear. Assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled. Live mentally and emotionally as though you have already achieved what you seek. This is not a trick or a fantasy. It is the foundation of all creation. Most people fail not because of a lack of ability, but because they allow their external conditions to dictate their inner state. They react to what they see rather than create what they want. But here is the truth. Your present circumstances are nothing more than the outpicturing of your past assumptions. If you accept them as permanent, they will persist. But the moment you dare to imagine a new reality, a reality where obstacles no longer exist, you set in motion the forces that will make it so. Do not accept what your senses tell you as the ultimate truth. There is a greater truth within you, the truth of your imagination. What you imagine with conviction and feeling must become your reality. When you encounter an obstacle, do not fight it. Fighting only reinforces its reality. Instead, withdraw your attention from it and focus entirely on the reality you wish to experience. Imagine yourself already living the life you desire. Feel the joy, the freedom, the success as if it were already yours. This mental state, held consistently, will dissolve every limitation in your path. There is no obstacle that can withstand the power of sustained imagination. The world must conform to the assumptions you hold, with belief and persistence. The mistake most people make is believing that external conditions have the final say. They let their current reality dictate what is possible. But reality is not fixed. It is fluid, ever-changing, and shaped by your consciousness. If you believe obstacles are inevitable, they will continue to appear. But if you believe the path is clear and success is yours, the world will reflect that. Your consciousness is the cause. and the world you experience is the effect. To change the effect, you must first change the cause. You do not need to know how the obstacles will be removed. That is not your concern. Your only work is to assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled and persist in that assumption no matter what appears to be happening. Trust that life will rearrange itself to match your new mental state. What appears impossible today will become inevitable when you hold your vision without wavering. Obstacles cannot survive in the presence of sustained belief. The moment you claim your success mentally, the path begins to clear, and circumstances shift in ways you could never predict. Let go of any belief that you are limited by external forces. You are limited only by the assumptions you hold in your mind. Change your assumptions and you change your life. Obstacles are not real in and of themselves. They are reflections of your consciousness. When you discipline your mind to focus only on what you want, the barriers will dissolve and the path to success will open before you effortlessly. This is not wishful thinking. It is a law as precise and certain as gravity. Align yourself with this truth, and nothing can stand in your way. One of the greatest misconceptions people hold is that external forces are responsible for the obstacles they encounter on the path to success. They believe that circumstances, other people, or sheer luck determine their outcomes. But the truth is far more profound. Everything you experience is a reflection of your internal state of mind. If you understand this principle and apply it deliberately, you can remove every obstacle and shape your reality to align with your desires. The external world is nothing but a mirror reflecting back to you the assumptions you hold deep within. When you grasp the power of your imagination and use it correctly, nothing can stand in your way. The key to success lies in controlling your thoughts and focusing on the reality you wish to experience. Your mind is the creative force that shapes your world. Every thought you dwell upon, every feeling you nurture, and every belief you hold with conviction becomes your external experience. If you believe that the path to success is filled with obstacles, you will encounter endless challenges. But if you believe that life is working in your favor and that nothing can stop you, your reality will align with that belief. The first step in removing obstacles is to change how you see yourself and your circumstances. Do not accept your current reality as permanent. Instead, understand that it is simply a reflection of your past thoughts. If you want to change your future, you must first change what you are imagining and believing right now. When you face a challenge, it is not the challenge itself that holds power over you. It is your reaction to it. Most people give their power away by accepting difficulties as unchangeable facts. But if you shift your focus and refuse to accept the limitation as final, you can overcome anything. Instead of focusing on the problem, focus on the solution. Imagine yourself already on the other side of the obstacle. Feel the freedom and joy that comes with success. The more you dwell in this mental state, the faster the external world will conform to your vision. This is not wishful thinking. It is the law by which everything in your life is created. You cannot escape this law, but you can learn to use it to your advantage. It is important to understand that you do not need to know how the obstacles will be removed. Your job is not to figure out every detail, but to hold firmly to the vision of your desired reality. The how will take care of itself as you persist in your belief. Many people sabotage their progress by worrying about how their dreams will come to pass. This only strengthens the very obstacles they wish to overcome. Instead, trust the process. Know that when you align your imagination with your desire and sustain that focus, unseen forces begin to work on your behalf. Circumstances shift, people are moved, and events unfold to clear the way for your success. Another important principle is the power of persistence. Most people give up when they encounter resistance because they believe that external conditions are stronger than their inner vision. But the truth is, reality must eventually reflect your dominant state of mind. The only way to fail is to stop imagining the outcome you desire. No matter how challenging the situation appears, hold steadfast to your vision. Assume that the way is already clear and act as though your success is inevitable. The longer you sustain this mental position, the more reality will mold itself to match your assumption. Every obstacle will fade away when faced with the unwavering belief that your success is certain. When you encounter resistance, it is a sign that your old beliefs are still active. Do not let temporary setbacks discourage you. Instead, see them as opportunities to strengthen your vision. Every time you choose to focus on your desired outcome instead of the obstacle, you are reshaping your reality. This is the path to true mastery, the ability to control your inner world regardless of what is happening externally. Once you develop this mental discipline, you will discover that nothing can stand in your way. Obstacles are not permanent, they are illusions created by your previous assumptions. When you change the assumption, the obstacle disappears. It is also vital to cultivate a feeling of already having what you desire. This is the secret that most people overlook. It is not enough to think about success, you must feel it deeply and consistently. When you imagine your success with such clarity and intensity that it feels real to you, it must become real in your external world. Your feelings act as a magnet, drawing to you the people, circumstances, and resources necessary to fulfill your vision. If you can hold the feeling of your wish fulfilled without allowing doubt or fear to enter, success is inevitable. The power to remove obstacles and achieve success lies entirely within you. No external force is greater than the creative power of your imagination. Whatever you consistently assume to be true will express itself in your reality. If you wish to clear your path to success, begin by assuming that there are no obstacles. Hold this belief with conviction and persistence. Refuse to accept appearances as final, and instead, trust that your inner vision will manifest. When you master this principle, you will discover that life is not happening to you, it is responding to you. Your imagination is the key, and the only limitations you face are those you accept in your mind. Change your mind and you change your world. The greatest power you possess is the ability to shape your reality through your imagination. Every obstacle you face is not an external force working against you, but a reflection of your inner assumptions and beliefs. When you fully grasp this truth, you realize that the power to remove any barrier lies entirely within your mind. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your beliefs are constantly shaping the world around you. If you perceive life as a struggle filled with endless obstacles, that is exactly what you will experience. But if you assume that nothing can stand in your way, and that success is your natural state, the universe must respond accordingly. You are the cause, and your external world is the effect. When you take control of the cause, your imagination, you gain the ability to transform your reality and remove any obstacle that stands between you and your desires. The mistake most people make is allowing their external circumstances to dictate their thoughts and feelings. When they encounter a problem, they react with fear, doubt, and frustration, reinforcing the very situation they want to change. But the key to overcoming obstacles is to reverse this process. Instead of reacting to appearances, you must discipline your mind to focus only on the outcome you desire. When you face a challenge, do not accept it as a fixed reality. See it instead as a temporary reflection of your past thoughts and beliefs. You have the power to change it by changing your assumption. Imagine yourself beyond the obstacle, already living in the reality you wish to experience. The more you hold this vision in your mind with certainty and persistence, the faster the outer world will rearrange itself to reflect your new state of consciousness. It is not enough to think about your desires occasionally or to wish for a better reality. You must assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is the key that unlocks the door to every possibility. When you consistently feel as though you already have what you want, your subconscious mind accepts this feeling as fact and works tirelessly to bring it into reality. Every obstacle, no matter how insurmountable it appears, must give way when faced with the power of sustained imagination. The external world cannot resist the inner conviction of one who knows their desires are already theirs. This is not magic or coincidence. It is the law by which all things come into being. One of the most important lessons to understand is that you do not need to figure out how your desires will manifest. Many people block their progress by worrying about the how and trying to control every detail. But your role is not to manage the process, it is to hold the vision. Trust that when your inner world aligns with your desire, the external world will follow. Circumstances will shift, opportunities will arise, and seemingly impossible barriers will dissolve. This is the natural consequence of a focused and disciplined imagination. When you remain faithful to your vision and refuse to entertain doubt, the universe must conform to your assumptions. There is no power greater than your ability to imagine and believe in a new reality. Another crucial principle is the importance of persistence. Many people give up when they do not see immediate results, not realizing that their reality is simply reflecting their most consistent assumptions. If you allow temporary setbacks to shake your belief, you prolong the existence of the very obstacles you want to remove. But if you remain steadfast, if you continue to assume the reality you desire regardless of appearances, you will inevitably succeed. Every time you choose to focus on your desired outcome instead of the problem, you weaken the obstacle's hold on your reality. Your imagination is the seed from which all things grow. Plant the seed of success, nurture it with belief, and trust that it must bear fruit in due time. When you encounter resistance, understand that it is a sign your old beliefs are being challenged. This is not the time to give up, it is the time to strengthen your assumption. Do not allow appearances to deceive you. Reality is fluid, constantly shaped by your mental state. The more you identify with your desired outcome, the more quickly the outer world must conform. Your inner world is the cause, and the outer world is the effect. When you master this truth, nothing can stand in your way. Obstacles lose their power when you refuse to accept them as permanent. The only limitations you face are those you accept in your mind. If you can imagine a life without barriers, you can create one. The final key to removing obstacles is to live from the end. This means mentally occupying the state where your desire is already fulfilled. Act as if your success is inevitable, and let your thoughts, words, and actions reflect that certainty. When you assume this attitude, life becomes a reflection of your inner conviction. You are no longer a victim of circumstances. You are the master of your destiny. Every obstacle is an illusion, waiting to be dissolved by the power of your imagination. The world must yield to the one who knows who they are and what they want. Hold fast to your vision, persist in your belief, and watch as every barrier crumbles before you. The most profound truth you can ever realize is this: your world is a mirror, reflecting your inner state. Every obstacle you encounter is not a random event or an external force working against you. It is a reflection of the beliefs you hold within yourself. If you believe in struggle, struggle will appear. If you assume obstacles are insurmountable, they will become immovable. But if you hold firm to the idea that nothing can stand between you and your desires, life must conform to that belief. This is not theory, it is the unchanging law of consciousness. The key to removing any obstacle is not in fighting against it, but in changing the thoughts and assumptions that created it in the first place. When you face difficulties, the natural response is to react emotionally, to worry, to doubt, to feel powerless. But every time you respond this way, you reinforce the very condition you wish to overcome. The world reflects what you believe to be true. If you dwell on the problem, it grows larger in your awareness, and by the law of consciousness, it must persist. The secret is to shift your focus from what you do not want to when you stop giving energy to the obstacle and begin to imagine the reality where it no longer exists, you initiate a powerful transformation. Reality cannot resist the persistent assumption of a new state of being. If you hold the image of yourself as someone who has already succeeded, the outer world must conform. It is important to understand that the external world is nothing more than a shadow cast by your imagination. What you see and experience is a direct reflection of your most dominant thoughts and feelings. This means that to change your outer world, you must first change yourself. If you continue to think and feel as you always have, nothing outside of you will change. But the moment you assume a new state of consciousness, the moment you begin to think from the reality you desire, you activate forces beyond your comprehension. These forces move in perfect harmony to bring your assumption into being. The obstacle you once thought was unmovable begins to fade because it cannot withstand the power of a changed assumption. The biggest mistake people make is focusing on the how. They ask, how will this problem be solved? Or how can I possibly overcome this? But the how is not your concern. Your only responsibility is to hold fast to the belief that your desired outcome is already a fact. When you fix your mind firmly on the result and refuse to entertain doubt, life arranges itself to fulfill your assumption. Unexpected opportunities arise. Circumstances shift. People and events move in ways you could never have predicted. But none of this happens until you first embody the state of having already achieved your goal. The outer world always lags behind the inner transformation. Do not let appearances deceive you. What you see today is merely a reflection of your past thoughts. If you want a new reality, you must commit yourself fully to a new state of being. There will be moments when the obstacle seems greater than your belief. In those moments, you must remind yourself of a powerful truth. Nothing in the external world has power over you. The only power an obstacle possesses is the power you give it through your belief in its permanence. But nothing is permanent unless you say it is. If you decide that an obstacle is only a temporary illusion, and you persist in the assumption that your success is inevitable, the obstacle must dissolve. This is not wishful thinking, it is law. Consciousness is the one and only reality, and the state you occupy in consciousness determines everything you experience. Persistence is the master key. Most people give up when they do not see immediate results. They allow doubt to creep in, undoing the work they have already done. But the truth is simple. What you assume and persist in must become your reality. Do not be swayed by appearances. The moment you plant a seed, it does not immediately sprout. But beneath the surface, unseen forces are at work. Your assumption works the same way. Hold it long enough and it must manifest. No obstacle can withstand the power of a sustained and unwavering belief. The outer world is fluid and malleable to the one who knows their imagination is the true reality. To truly remove obstacles on the path to success, you must live from the end. This means imagining and feeling that your desired outcome is already yours. Do not hope or wish. Assume it with absolute certainty. Speak and act as if nothing stands in your way, and you will find that nothing can. The external world is powerless against the one who knows who they are and what they want. If you refuse to accept defeat, if you persist in your assumption regardless of appearances, every obstacle must yield to the power of your imagination. This is the truth that sets you free. The question is not whether you have the power, the question is whether you will use it. The power to remove obstacles on the path to success lies entirely within you. Every challenge you face is not an external barrier. It is a reflection of your inner state of consciousness. What you believe, what you assume to be true, becomes the reality you experience. If you see obstacles as fixed and immovable, they will appear to be exactly that. But if you adopt the belief that nothing can stand between you and your goals, the world will reshape itself to match that assumption. The outer world is not separate from you. It is an extension of your inner world, a mirror reflecting your dominant thoughts and feelings. When you grasp this truth, you hold the key to transforming any situation in your life. Most people give their power away by focusing on the obstacle itself. They analyze it, worry about it, and allow it to consume their thoughts. But this only strengthens the obstacle, because whatever you give your attention to grows. The more you focus on a problem, the more energy you give it, and the more it persists. The secret to overcoming any challenge is to shift your attention away from the problem and place it firmly on the solution. Imagine the reality where the obstacle no longer exists. See yourself already having achieved your goal. Feel the relief, the joy, and the confidence that comes from knowing the outcome is already yours. This is not idle daydreaming. It is the creative act that reshapes reality. Your imagination is the most powerful tool you possess. It is through imagination that every reality is brought into being. If you can imagine yourself beyond the obstacle, you have already taken the first and most important step toward its removal. But imagination alone is not enough. You must believe in the truth of your assumption. You must accept that the reality you desire is not something far off in the future. It is already yours. When you consistently occupy this mental state, the outer world must reflect it. This is not a hopeful wish or a vague promise. It is an immutable law. What you assume and persist in must become your reality. One of the greatest obstacles to success is doubt. When you doubt, you split your energy. You say you want to achieve your goal, but at the same time you question whether it is possible. This contradiction weakens your creative power. To succeed, you must be unwavering in your belief. Assume that your goal is already accomplished and refuse to entertain any thought to the contrary. This requires discipline. It is easy to believe when things are going well, but the true test is holding to your belief when circumstances appear unchanged. The outer world is simply a reflection of past assumptions. It is not a fixed reality. By persisting in your new assumption, you override the old and create a new reality in its place. Another key to removing obstacles is to stop asking how. Many people become trapped in their circumstances because they obsess over how their desires will be fulfilled. They try to figure out every step, every detail, and when they cannot see a clear path, they give up. But the how is not your responsibility. Your only job is to maintain the belief that your goal is already achieved. The universe will arrange the means in ways you cannot predict. Circumstances will shift, opportunities will arise, and people will appear to assist you but only if you hold fast to your assumption. Do not limit yourself by relying on logic alone. Reality is far more flexible than you have been led to believe. Persistence is the most important quality you can develop. Obstacles are not permanent unless you accept them as such. If you continue to imagine yourself as already successful, no matter how things appear, the world must conform to your assumption. Most people fail because they give up too soon. They allow temporary appearances to dictate their belief, forgetting that reality is always in the process of changing. Just as a seed grows beneath the surface before it emerges, your assumption is working unseen until it manifests. The key is to persist without wavering. No obstacle can resist a mind that refuses to accept defeat. Finally, you must embody the state of success now. Do not wait for your outer circumstances to change. Change yourself first. Speak, think, and act as though you are already the person you wish to become. When you move through life with this conviction, the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are the creator of them. And when you fully accept this truth, no obstacle will ever stand in your way again. The power is already yours. Use it with confidence, and you will discover that success is not something you chase, it is something you allow to come to you. The final and most profound truth to removing obstacles on the path to success is understanding that everything begins and ends with you. The external world is not an independent force acting upon you. It is a mirror reflecting your inner world. What you consistently think, feel, and believe shapes the reality you experience. If you accept this truth fully, you realize that no external obstacle can truly block your path unless you allow it. The only barriers that exist are those you hold in your imagination. By changing your inner state, you dissolve these barriers and open the way for your desires to manifest. To truly master this principle, you must become aware of your inner dialogue. What are you telling yourself throughout the day? Are you affirming your power and success, or are you reinforcing feelings of doubt and limitation? Your self-talk shapes your consciousness, and your consciousness shapes your reality. If you continually focus on what is wrong, what is lacking, or what is impossible, you will experience more of the same. But if you shift your inner conversation to one of power, abundance, and certainty, you will naturally attract experiences that reflect these qualities. This is not a vague or mystical process. It is a law as consistent and precise as gravity. When faced with an obstacle, your first task is to detach from the appearance of the problem. Do not give it power by accepting it as unchangeable. Instead, turn inward and ask yourself, what would I be thinking and feeling if this obstacle were already removed? Let that answer guide your imagination. Create a vivid mental picture of yourself beyond the problem, living in the reality where your goal is already accomplished. Feel the relief, the joy, and the confidence that comes from knowing the obstacle is gone. Make this new vision your dominant focus and refuse to entertain any thoughts that contradict it. It is not enough to imagine this new reality once and hope for the best. You must persist in this mental state until it becomes more real to you than your current circumstances. Every time your mind drifts back to the obstacle, gently redirect it to your desired outcome. This requires discipline, but the reward is absolute certainty that nothing can stand in your way. Persistence is the bridge between imagination and reality. When you hold fast to your assumption, the outer world must eventually conform. This is not wishful thinking. It is an unbreakable law. Many people sabotage their own success by allowing fear to control their thoughts. They worry about what might go wrong or whether their efforts will be wasted, but fear is nothing more than misplaced imagination. It is the mental rehearsal of unwanted outcomes. If you allow fear to dominate your mind, you will create the very obstacles you are trying to avoid. The remedy is to consciously redirect your imagination toward what you want, rather than what you fear. When you feel fear rising, use it as a signal to reaffirm your vision. Remind yourself that you are the master of your mind, and no external condition can define your reality unless you give it permission. Another essential principle is to act as if your desire is already fulfilled. This does not mean forcing yourself to pretend or putting on a false front. It means embodying the mental and emotional state of someone who already has what they want. How would you walk, speak, and carry yourself if the obstacle were already removed? Adopt that posture now. This mental alignment accelerates the manifestation process because the world reflects not what you want but who you are being. When you consistently assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, reality has no choice but to mirror that state. The key to lasting success is to cultivate a deep sense of trust in the unseen. Just because you cannot immediately perceive the movement of your desires does not mean nothing is happening. The process of creation is always unfolding beneath the surface. Like a seed growing underground, your assumptions are working invisibly until they break into physical reality. Impatience and doubt disrupt this process. But if you trust that your vision is already in motion, you will remain steadfast even when no visible evidence appears. Faith is the fuel that sustains your journey and guarantees your eventual success. No obstacle is permanent unless you accept it as such. The moment you decide that nothing can stand between you and your goals, reality will begin to bend to your will. You are not a powerless observer. You are the creative force behind everything you experience. By mastering your imagination, controlling your thoughts, and persisting in your desired state, you become unstoppable. The path to success is not about struggling against external conditions. It is about transforming your inner world until the outer world has no choice but to follow. The power is already within you. Use it with confidence, and you will discover that there are no true obstacles, only opportunities for your vision to become reality. In the end, the path to success is not shaped by external circumstances, but by your inner world, your thoughts, beliefs, and imagination. Every obstacle you face is only as real and as powerful as the meaning you give to it. When you understand that your mind is the creative force behind your reality, you realize that no barrier is permanent, no challenge is insurmountable. By mastering your inner conversation, persisting in your vision, and acting as if your desires are already fulfilled, you align yourself with the reality you wish to experience. Success is not about fighting the world, it is about transforming yourself. When you shift your consciousness, the world around you must shift to match it. Obstacles dissolve when you refuse to accept them as final and instead focus on the reality you wish to create. Trust the unseen process, hold firm to your vision, and know that everything is working in your favor. The power to remove any obstacle and achieve your dreams already lies within you. Use it boldly, and success will become not just a possibility, but an inevitable reality.